Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Christian von Lähr, and we're on the set with Stephen Tobolowsky, and you may know him from Glee, one of the teachers on Glee. He's been on many episodes, and we're working on a series right now where we're talking with celebrities, trying to get a number of their experiences of the paranormal, the other side, spiritual, psychic, that may have happened. And so we're going to open with that, if that's all right.
That's okay with me, yeah. I never really thought about being psychic. I always thought it was kind of a goofy thing.
Sure,
you
a
know,
lot of people do.
Never bought it. And I was at a retreat with our drama class in school, and all the students were going around in a circle, and the teacher was saying things like, say the first thing that comes into your mind. And people are going around going, purple, right on, let's get high. Different things like that. And they got to me, and I just said, oh, I get that you're not who you say you are.
Very good.
And he looked at me and goes, what? I said, I see JK or JL. And he went, okay, and who's next? Who's next? And then he came to me afterwards and said that actually he was working under an assumed name, and his actual initials were JK. So
Phenomenal.
At that period of time, I thought I could make some money doing this. So I went to his home, and he said he would like to have a session with me where I held hands with him over a Japanese prayer stool. Again, I thought this was a bunch of bunk.
Oh,
Nutty.
This is phenomenal. You have a natural gift.
Nutty, wacky doodle stuff. So anyway, I held hands with him over this prayer stool, and I go like, oh, well, and I mean, it wasn't anything magical. Like I go,
It seemed natural to you, right?
I was just holding his hands. I go, oh, well, there's two other people in the room. I said, there's a 5-year-old by the fireplace and a 40-year-old woman on the phone. And he told me, after he turned pale and fell down and needed a glass of water, that actually his nephew was playing in the house by the fireplace and ran outside and was hit by a car in the street. And his sister, on her 40th birthday, 40-year-old woman on the phone, called him up and committed suicide over the phone. So at this point in time, I got scared. Sure. I started thinking like maybe this was scary. One other tale I'll tell, because what I started doing was
let me just interrupt you there.
Yeah, go ahead,
let you understand one thing. A lot of people have psychic experiences, and something like fear sets in, and so they set it aside. I had to do that many times because I started out being a clairvoyant medium as a child. And so you set it aside, and eventually it just sort of takes over your life and you can't avoid it. And part of the interesting thing about this segment that we're doing is I am finding so many people that are very gifted, like actors and writers and singers, actually have experiences to share. So you are right on, and boy, you're showing a lot of characteristics of someone that has a natural mediumship ability. So we interrupted your story. Where were you going to go?
No, well, what are some of the natural characteristics that you would say?
Well, we just did Shirley Jones, by the way,
Yeah.
earlier today, and I just
Awesome.
I just went for it, and doggone, she had all the telltale signs. One of the things we find is when you pick up something to the right or left of you, moving to the right or left of you, and you think, most people think there's nothing there and they dismiss it, but after a while you realize, I'm always picking up something over here and here, as if someone's standing there. Now we know what that is. It has to do with our eyes. The outer part of our eyes is constructed differently than the center part of our eyes. Have the rod structures, and they pick up energy and motion. So the other planes of existence that we're connecting with have to be a different dimension to us, so we pick up that energy. And science has proven that energy is picked up by the outer part of our eyes. So what you're saying is very consistent.
Well, there is more to your philosophy than what heaven and earth, Horatio. I just finished doing a TV series. I had finished doing several shows. I felt very successful. I was feeling very great. And we got some checks in the mail, about $17,000 worth of checks. And I thought I was going to really fulfill myself and start getting into shape. So I was going to ride these checks over to the bank.
Okay.
Is what I was going to do. So I took these 3 checks that totaled $17,000, and I endorsed those bad boys. And I put them in my pocket and put my little helmet on, and I rode the 2 miles or so to the bank, got to the bank, reached in my pocket, pulled out the deposit slip, and the checks were gone. So now it was my turn to pass out, freak out, whatever. I rode my bike with very shaky hands home, and I got home to my dear wife, and I said, honey, the $17,000 worth of checks, they're gone. I have no idea where they are. And she said, and I'll clean this up for your show. She said, you always said you had ESP. You better use it now.
Do we have a beep feature on this?
So I said, don't stress me.
Right.
Let me just sit at the table 1 second. So
There you go. Right there is an example of how people can improve their receptiveness. If you get out of that stress, okay, the mental stress, try and stop thinking for a moment, and then it starts coming naturally, right?
Well,
It's
I sat,
the brain activity.
and again, it wasn't anything like he. It was
Right.
nothing.
Nothing
I sat down at the table, and in my head, I saw the 3 checks up against a hurricane fence. And I went, and I've got to tell you, that's a very thin thread when your wife is angry at you, is an image you have in your head before you call the FBI or something. So I said, baby, let me just go and see if I could find a hurricane fence somewhere between our house and the bank, the 2 miles. Got back on my bike, and I started riding on the path I took to the bank. And I'm crossing the LA River, and I went, wait a minute. The LA River does have a hurricane fence around it, even though I hadn't seen it when I rode there.
Right.
And I stopped halfway to the bank, about a mile away from home, got off my bike, and I ran down the hill toward the river, and there was the hurricane fence around the LA River, and there were the
checks.
3 checks up against the fence, just like I had seen them. And I picked them off, put them in my pocket, went home. Happy wife, happy life.
She probably hasn't beeped again since that.
And the only other thing I'll tell you is
Well, you know that there's clairvoyance, right? You're seeing something. You're seeing something in the past. You're seeing something in the future. You're getting seership going on. You're seeing a little movie going on. And by the way, did you cut off that fence and keep it for a souvenir?
No.
Okay, I would have.
No. I was working on Broadway. I was in New York. And I only bring this up because it was different from any of the other things that I mentioned so far, because the other things I mentioned, I was like sitting with my teacher, like I'm sitting with you, sitting with my wife, had the checks in my pocket. This was different. I was in New York. My wife called me up crying in Los Angeles.
Okay.
She had lost a necklace that her grandmother had given her that had a diamond on it. And she said, I'm desperate. I know this is crazy, but you and your nutty ESP, can you tell me where this necklace is? And I said, again, I tried to get calm.
You got to get calm, because
Gotta get
the
calm.
mind is the most, the strongest energy that we have, the strongest energy field we have. So you got to suppress that so you can be receptive to the other sensitivities.
Maybe it's because my mind isn't so strong. Maybe that's a selling point.
Well, you're an actor. I mean,
That says it. That says everything. So I said, the necklace is still in the house, and it's in something black and purple and soft. So I said, now I'm in New York on the phone, and I'm telling her, and she goes, what? So she looked through the house. She had nothing black, purple, or soft. She had no idea what I was talking about. Went into my son's room, and in my son's room, there was a gym bag that was a gift from the Los Angeles Lakers, black and purple and soft. And in a zipper compartment of that gym bag was my wife's necklace. And once she saw it, she remembered that she had gone out with our kid to the park and he had his toys in that gym bag, and she just took it off because she didn't want to lose it. So
My mother used to find all sorts of stuff in the gym bag, but never a diamond necklace.
right. So that I only mentioned because that was across the country.
Right.
I wasn't in proximity.
Interesting
with her.
fact. You don't have to be in close proximity. You know what I like, Stephen, about the way you presented that is a lot of people hold on to their senses until they get some end game or end picture. What you did was the correct way. As you were getting senses, you just let it out. Grab some purple, dark bag. As they come in a sequence, you say it, and that frees up your mind to get the next frame of what you're looking for. So you did that absolutely right.
So in a way, it's like, don't make best the enemy of better.
Right.
Don't wait till you have the perfect answer. Just go with the answer you have, and
Right.
that will say yes and facilitate more answers.
It's why in your first story, when they asked the question, people were saying, well, I sense blue or green. Whatever you're sensing, it's smaller and constrained here in this physical plane. When you're using ESP or any psychic experience, you're connecting with some other higher dimension, like the other side or above, that has many more dimensions to it. Mm-hmm. Like we have 3 here, 14 in the astral plane, 256 up where heaven would be. It's very hard for us to put into words that experience. So you have to say, I felt blue, I see a gray bag. Just take it in a stream of sequences, and you will end up getting to the answer. Well, Stephen, we have to wrap up this segment. Thank you so very much,
Thank
and
you,
good
Doc.
luck in the career.
Thank you, sir.
And of course, you've always got a second job in the psychic business.
Wait a minute.
Right?
I get a sense that you're not who you say you are. Joking.